points dropped.
1 point gained.
2 points dropped.
1 point gained.
2 points dropped.
1 point gained.
No matter how you look at it, Blackburn Rovers a little light up top today, up against Luton Town at Kenilworth Road. How did it pan out? We'll take a whole look next. Once again, another match review, looking back at Blackburn Rovers' latest match out in the Championship up against Luton Town, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new, where you been? Smash your subscribe button, get back up to all things Rovers related, Championship related, woo, football related. We're going to all here, boys, under one roof. That's right. Yes, some people say 2 points dropped, some people say 1 point game. Well, regardless, Rovers still are second in the table, no matter what. The black and white in the table, you'll see it in a second, of course. Big shout out to my VIPs, they're the Patreons, guys. Thank you for loving it. Of course, I really appreciate it. Behind the scenes, of course, if you're new, check it all out down below, patreon.com/roverseas. And again, if you're new, smash your subscribe. Here we go then, let's recap the match, which of course ended earlier today. Slide over here a little bit, boys. Let's get into it then, shall we? Hopefully I can see it. It's quite, I do need to get new glasses, I think. Anyway, of course, 0-0 it was in the end. A game that could have gone either way, and of course, I think a fair result, despite the fact that Luton Town had the best effort. Cameron Jerome, the veteran, putting it against the woodwork. Was that the first half, I think? Yes, it was. In a better first half for them. I think Rovers dominated the second half. As you see from the possession, it's quite evenly split, 51% for Luton Town and 49% for Rovers. When you think about it, as a Rovers fan, we hardly ever get possession. We're not that sort of team these days. It just goes to show what kind of a match it was today. 8 shots for Luton Town, 7 for Rovers. It didn't feel good going forward. It does show a lack of depth up top. Of course, Gallagher started the match. Of course, we'll look at the lineups in a second, but he came off injured, coughing up blood, I read in the post-match comments. No Cadra as well, so Butterworth was the go-to second place. There was even a stage that we stuck the big Spaniard, Daniel Ayala up top. Yes, desperate times it was for Rovers, which just goes to the lack of depth we have in those attacking areas. Chapman was on the bench, but of course Moby decided, no, let's bring on Ayala and see what he can do. As you see some more numbers here, we'll look at the grand scheme of things of the stats here. Fouls, 16 for Luton Town, 14 for Rovers. Free kicks, we had more of those because of those fouls as well. Let's take a look then, of course, at what else we got here, the actual deeper lying stats here. Of course, we did see the big chance for Luton Town. They had one. Rovers didn't have any, and of course they hit the woodwork with that one as well. They hit 7 shots within inside the box, 1 outside the box, and the keeper made 2 saves, and that's of course respectively for both goalkeepers as well. Aerial duels were won by Rovers, 47 of them for Rovers, and of course they won the duels on the ground, 81 of them tonight for Rovers. Let's take a look at, of course, the first half stats where, of course, I think Luton Town dominated, 55% possession for them as well, 5 shots compared to 2 of them on target, 2 of them off target, and 1 was blocked as well. They shut the 1 corner in the first half, 1 yellow card as well. It was quite a feisty game. These games seem to be quite scrappy, and of course there was, I don't know, there's an unwanted bit of beef there. I don't know why the beef is there, but there seems to be a bit of beef on there. They had more passes than we do. As for Rovers, quite bland on the stats here as well. But anyway, let's take a look at the second half, where I think Rovers stepped it up a bit, 52% possession for Rovers in the second half compared to the 48 for Luton Town. 4 shots of the night as well in the second half as well. 3 block shots. We definitely raised our game in the second half, and actually is much more fancied on the blue column down that right hand side. Let's remind ourselves, of course, who played today. Of course, this is Luton Town. James Shea is the number 1 these days. Tom Lockyer at the back with Gabriel Osho, a youngster at the back with Kay Naismith wearing the captain's armband in Matty Pearson's absence. And Panzu, Campbell, Bree in midfield alongside Amari Bell as well. Henry Lansby as well, and of course up top they had a bit of a striking shortage as well for Luton Town, with Fredo Nyema coming in and Cameron Jerome, of course the veteran, leading the charge for Luton. Let's take a look at the subs then for Luton Town. They did bring on Luke Berry, of course, Harry Cornick, of course, Chief Shithouse Merchant himself, and Admiral Muswakwe, of course, coming on there, but again, to little to no avail in the second half. As for Rovers, we did opt for Thomas Community between 6, Wharton, Van Hegelen, again a clean sheet. Let's chew on that for a little bit. I think 9 in something ridiculous. That's good. That you know what? Yes, goals are great, but keeping clean sheets, people say that, and that's across the board, not only in football, but American football, in ice hockey, in bloody basketball. Defences can win you championships. I know we're not in a title race, really, But that could be the make or break for us at the end of the season. Let's keep this trio, this boy band together, the Wharton, the Van Heck, the Lenihan, Kaminsky at the back. The understanding of those 4 individuals is monumental. The wing backs, of course, is a problem area for Rovers. Taylor started. Pickering, of course, is still a couple of weeks away. And now we did have an injury with Taylor. So the left-hand side is an area of concern. On the right side, Nyambe played today. Zifuk started in an attacking spot, which is a bit bizarre. It was very, very much a square peg round hole scenario for today for Rovers. But again, Zifuk ended up at left back, so that might be where he starts. Of course, Swansea, of course, looking forward. But of course, transfer window shots Monday. Is there going to be any more ins and outs? I think Rovers are going to be very, very busy with loans as well. Maybe a couple of loans coming in. I think if we've got a couple of loan spots and maybe 2 or 3 additions, we could see 5 through the door. That's just on my guess. Anyway, of course, John Buckley in midfield, Bradley Johnson, Travis, no Rothwell. And we'll talk about Rothwell in a minute because there's some Mowbray had his part to say in that in a little bit. Moving forward, of course, Gallagher was up top with Zifuk. Up top, the subs bench for Rovers was light, very, very light. We did see the likes of Daniel Moyala, we did see Joe Recchi-Costello, and we also saw Daniel Butterworth coming on as well to little or zero effect, of course. Just keeping our heads above water. Of course, some other young guns on there. Jake Garrett's yet to get a game. He's been on the bench a couple of times now. It's only a matter of time before he gets some minutes. Of course, this is how they panned out. Back threes, of course, on both sides. Back 2 up top as well. And again, down the bottom there, you can see the action grid where all the stuff took place, all the yellow cards, the subs, and all that kind of drama. They give the man of the match to John Paul Van Heck with an 8.1. That's, of course, an impartial point of view, not my point of view. Zifuk had little or no effect, to be honest with you. Teodon, again, both full-backs and Nyambe were kind of cancelled out. I think that the match was kind of won and lost. Rovers back 3 and Luton Town's midfield. I thought those were the 2 dominating factors in this game. And again, I think if the game was 10 or 15 minutes longer, we might have snatched something out of it. But again, we lacked the firepower, and there should be a concerning factor for Rovers. It should be a concerning factor for Mowbray moving forward, because if we are in this, if we're going to challenge, if we're going to have a go this time around, we have to see some attacking reinforcements come in. We're too light up top. Hopefully they've got a MasterCard up their sleeve. Hopefully Reece Healy comes in with his tail up and, of course, wanting to score some goals here. Or maybe they've got something else up their sleeves. It's going to be interesting, and I'm going to be looking forward to the transfer window. Anyway, take a look at the shot grid here. Rovers represented by the blue, and, of course, Luton represented by the orange here. Quite a few long-range shots here from Rovers, quite a few in the box as well. Our key men, Bradley Johnson, he did unleash a thunder bastard that resulted in a corner, and, of course, scattered bomb shots everywhere else. Nothing really too much in it. Of course, Jerome had a couple of hit the woodwork with one of them, and of course Naismith with a couple at the back as well. And as you can see, some of the shots and stuff down here. They had 509 touches compared to our 499, and they had 304 passes to our 287 as well. Kicking on forward, this is the touch map here. Of course, Luton Town preferring the right-hand side. They had us on toast back there. As for Rovers, preferring the left-hand side, I would say. And again, down the right side, there's a bit of a gap here, a bit of an area that's a wasted space, perhaps, for Blackburn Rovers. So yeah, a bit not the greatest performance from Rovers today, but it was a hard one to say the very least. That's of course a little take on what I have to say. What about the gaffer? Here's his thoughts, a little bit on the match maybe, and of course a lot more to talk about Joe Rothwell's absence.
He can mess your brain about a little bit, really, and he's seen all the speculation. He said, I don't know the answer, but who's to say he hasn't spoken to the manager, and who hasn't promised him this and that, and his agent will definitely know what a deal would be somewhere. And at this moment, I've had long chats. In fact, I spoke to you, didn't I? And George just been. I told you that George just said, "Can he have 5 minutes?" So anyway, listen. I think let's say it was a Joe decision. If a kid's struggling, if he's got a potential deal somewhere that's going to change the rest of his life, and he wants to see whether that's right or wrong, then I don't want him on this pitch for us when we have to come here and fight like we had to fight today, and I sit there and question his manliness, really, and so I didn't want to do that, so we left him at home. Once the window shuts, it'll be a different conversation, and if he's still our player, then I will expect, and his teammates will expect 100% every single game from him.
Has he expressed a desire, Tony, to leave?
I think he's expressed a desire to have a conversation with them, which I know the way football works. He'll have had, not him necessarily, but his advisor will definitely have had the conversation already. So he's just playing the game, but that's okay. I understand. I wouldn't criticise him. I wouldn't want our supporters to come down on the wrong side of Joe Rothwell. It's football. I ultimately make the decision. I could have told him to get on the bus and come with the group, but I told him to stay at home. Let's get the window out the way. Let's see, and then we can talk again. On Tuesday. Let's see if I've talked you through the scenarios in my mind. I think the owners are pretty adamant that Joe Rothwell's not getting sold. The slight grey area to that is if we could have 2 23, 24-year-old players that I think are two of probably the really, really talented players in this league. Why wouldn't we do it now? Why wouldn't we change the Rothwell money for 2 23-year-old footballers who are really good and give them 5-year contracts, and you're just making the squad better instead of a lad who wants to go and play somewhere else? Then but at the same time, I understand how difficult it is for the owners to accept money off of one of our better players while we're doing so well.
Just a final one, if I may. Will you have time, if Joe gets a move, to do that?
Well, Joe won't get a move unless the other moves are done. We're not daft. Well, I'd like to think we're not daft. It's Joe Rothwell will not be leaving unless we feel that we're actually strengthening the team. As I say to you at the start of every window, the job is to strengthen the football club every window if you can. We can't leave it worse off.
And that's not Hedges, is it?
No, it's not Hedges for Rothwell, no. Hedges is a cross-borders, just about free transfer. He's not a free transfer, you've got to pay a little bit of money, but as we've said to you, these players are out of contract in 4 months' time, and they're basically worth nothing to us after this window shuts on Monday, and it's the same for Aberdeen. He's worth nothing to them, so they either take some money and let that happen, or they think he's their best player, we're keeping him and he'll just go for nothing, and them's the decisions clubs have got to make.
Let's take a look at what's going on social media then, shall we? Kick it off with Adam Salzuki said, take the point, move on. Another clean sheet, missing most of our attacking players at the club. Overall a decent result, proud of the hard work and grit, but just lack some quality today. Could be a vital point come the end of the season. Let's get players back to fitness and roll on. Carwick said that was an eyesore of a match, but with the number of attacking injuries and the conditions, you take the draw all day long. Ben the Boss Jackson said, good point, pressure is on the next match now though. We need to find some backup for Brereton. Meanwhile, Solsters Inc. said, considering the challenges and playing a notorious hard-nosed outfit, in fact a difficult place on and off the pitch, take the point to the tally. James Green said, dreadful game of football, thank God I'm not a Luton fan. Best putting that down as a hard 4 point with a very patched up side on the pitch. Not going to many games that our entire front three are injured. Tim Farron, of course, 4 points in the 2 games without Big Ben. That's pretty good. Another clean sheet. That's a solid fact there. We'll talk about that because when we looked ahead of these ones, you would say Middlesbrough, Luton Town, if you can get 4 points of that, you would be laughing. Of course, they were the reversed. If you got a point against Middlesbrough, picked up a win against Luton Town, you probably think that's a good collective. So let's take it from that point. 4 points out of 6, not too shabby as well. Kicking on forward, we have Barnes. Said, in the grand scheme of things, this is a good result, but we're going to need some miracles to keep our position. Thomas Keeley said, some point now, outstanding effort for the back 5. How have we drawn that with the side we had out? Great character, and again. Robson Green, not that one, but this one. He said, no question about it, is a brilliant result and performance, missing so many key players and then losing players during the game. So proud of the boys. Luton might not be a top team, but they're horrible, and it's not an easy place to go, especially when missing 7-8 first team players. John Robson said, horrible team, Luton, I'll take a point versus Sunday League team. Crispy FC said, don't mind the point away at Luton. Tough place to go. Bring Bucko off for Ayala. It's a shocking substitution. He was a more of a dominating figure that, of course, could challenge for some high balls, but that's pretty much it, really. Blue and White Army, great points. QPR and Bournemouth on our tails, but we keep going. Josh Wilson said, decent result in the circumstances. Anthony Baldwin said, not a bad result, all things considered. I just hope we can sign a forward by deadline day. Karamakis, decent point against the cheating thugs with all the injuries we have. Great effort, lads. Daniel Carroll said, no Diaz, Rothwell or Cadra, plus numerous others out. Happy to take a point. Hopefully Tony can make a few additions before the close of play on Monday. Joseph Bird, likely Bradley Johnson said, in week, strikers win you games, defenders win you championships. We will, we didn't have any strikers towards the end of the game. No idea how Luton get away with a dirty play. Phenomenal point under the circumstances as well. There's a lot of banter on there in regards to the Joe Rothwell scenario. I'm not gonna dig into that too much. But anyway, let's kick it on forward and take a look at what else went on elsewhere. Of course, these are the results here. Huddersfield picked up a draw against Stoke, or should I say Stoke picked up a draw against Huddersfield. Hull City, their new era continue. 2-0 winners over Swansea. They make a major movement on from the foot of the table. QPR big winners as well. 4-0 over Reading. It might be, of course, a case of the UB40 for the Reading coach. Barnsley did lose to Bournemouth. They gave a fight for themselves, but unfortunately they could not hold on. Middlesbrough 1-0 winners over Coventry. Millwall 2-0 winners over West Brom. The wheels seem to have fallen off there. Preston a late equaliser for them against Bristol City. And Fulham dropped points against Blackpool. Peterborough against Sheffield United did end up 2-0 in favour of Sheffield United. Of course, big win for them as well. And tomorrow, Derby County with, of course, maxed out attendance there up against Birmingham City and Cardiff against Forest on that must be also tomorrow as well. So take a look at the table. Here it is. Of course, Hull now up to 18th. Still got a lot of work for them to make up moves, but the owner is looking at players. But Luton Town, point for them in the bag, closing in on top 6 themselves, just 6 points adrift for them. And they've got games in hand. They've got games in hand, so let's bear that in mind. We have points at the board as well. We have points at the board, so the likes of Bournemouth and QPR do have games in hand, but they've got to turn those games in hand into points. We saw QPR stumble the midweek against Swansea. They weren't so stumbling this time around. Bournemouth as well stumbled last time around and also picked up a result this time around. So it is going to be chalk and cheese, and we're going to be rotating in and out of that top 2, I hope, at the end of the campaign. Speaking of moving forward, it's a bit of a weird one this next few days, about a week. Some teams are not playing, some teams are playing. Of course, some teams might be playing twice. I'm looking at this, I can't see it. But Millwall will be taking on Preston. That's, of course, on Tuesday. Swansea take on Luton. That is also on Tuesday. Yeah, Swansea are playing twice in a matter of a week. Huddersfield taking on Derby as well. That's also on Wednesday. Barnsley taking on Cardiff. Also Wednesday. Birmingham against Sheffield United. That's Friday. Blackpool against Bristol City. That's also on Saturday. Hull City against Preston on Saturday. And Rovers go to the Wales. That's right. Up against Swansea. Difficult match for them as well. So that's pretty much my take on the matter right here, right now. Be sure to give the video some love and smash your thumbs up. Smash your subscribe, of course. Check out the links down below. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitch. I'm on Facebook. And, of course, I'm on Patreon as well if you want to support the channel in another way. I do appreciate the love on the channel. Of course, if you want to help us out, we're trying to get a band of Avengers together. Big week this week for me. Trying to speak to some people, talk about the plans and the channel. And I want some new recruits, basically. In the long term of things, there is some ways to make a little bit of money. I'm not talking about big bucks here. I'm talking about a little bit of pocket change, maybe. I could talk about that via Zoom as well if you're interested. If you are interested, let me know in the comment section, or better still, go over on Twitter, follow me that way, DM me directly, or find me on Facebook and hunt me down that way. Until then, guys, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. I think it's a big point for Rovers. A difficult place to go is Luton Town, considering our personnel that we had out there. The tail of the tape is, though, what's going to happen on deadline day. Will we lose Brereton? Probably not. Will we lose Rothwell? Could very much well be, but hopefully Mowbray's get his little black book out and bring in some replacements quick time, because we need to improve ourselves attackingly, creatively, if we are going to be a force this season and remain in the hunt for at least the playoffs. But until then, boys, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. See you soon for the next one. Until then, we're done.